Hi, it's Mrs. David, and we're going to continue our study on culture and collage. Today is day 2, and we're going to review photo editing. We're going to be inspired by a few different artists, and then we're going to play in the collage app. Your learning targets today are: I can gather and edit photos that reflect my culture. You might have done that last week. I can reflect on the influence culture had on artists' work. We're going to learn about 2 artists. And then I can explore the art of digital collage using the NGA Kids app. You're going to have some time to play. First, we'll check out 2 artists, and then I'll show you how to use the NGA app. And then, if you're not done with your photo editing, I included one more tutorial on editing in the Do Ink green screen. I hope you enjoy.
I feel like my work is telling the true story of a people. Think about people who maybe have not been recognized traditionally. Who is this person? What was their personality like? What was their life like? I feel like I'm telling a story from the inside point of view. What is it like as me? My name is Bisa Butler. I'm an artist. I work primarily in textiles. This came about because I was in school and I was studying painting. My grandmother was ill and I made a portrait for her. And when I finished the painting, I turned it around and I was like, "Grandma, what do you think?" And her face kind of fell. I was really crushed because I was like, oh my God, but this is the way I saw her. And I talked it over with my aunt and my mother, and my aunt said, "Your grandmother sees herself as 30 years younger than what she is." So I was like, what if I made a portrait quilt? I gave it to her and she loved it. I could feel some energy in the room that something new was happening. The initial start is, who is it going to be? And then after you choose that person, choose your color scheme. And the color scheme is based on what you feel about that person. People have color around them, in them, that is not evidently visible to the naked eye. After all of that sort of internal process, then I actually have to start sketching. And then that sketch is what I use to cut all those little bits of fabric up. I don't use any computer programs because I feel like my sketch is my impression of this person. After I've laid out everything, then I get to the sewing. Although it looks intimidating, that's actually the fastest part. Considering the 300 hours would be something that took me maybe a month to put together, then one day of sewing is I feel like I'm on this amazing roller coaster when I'm stitching. A piece that I just finished is of Frederick Douglass. And Frederick Douglass has always been a larger than life figure. And I became intrigued, what kind of man is this that at 30 years old, you have this presence of self that's sort of emanating outside of this photograph. I suppose we all are interested in the human condition and what is it that people can do and what is somebody else seeing that maybe you didn't see before. So I think it's very important for every artist to accept themselves as imperfect and accept their sketch as an impression of their subject.
This is me. This is my father, Robert Rauschenberg. This is my wife, Janet Stein. My father was an artist who was primarily thought of as a painter, but was deeply driven by photography. The camera taught my father and taught me, look at these ordinary objects and don't disregard them. Let's bring the whole world into a painting. Painting shouldn't just be limited to use of flat color on a plane. Why not let it stretch its arms a little bit and reach out further into the real world? Let the real world reach out into your painting. One of the things that's really interesting if you look at the trajectory of my father's work, he starts to describe himself as a reporter, but he's going to look at the large world, bring it to you in its complexity. He's using images from Life magazine, images that you would have come across. All these things kind of tumbling around together in the way that the contents of your head are like this big crazy collage too. Buffalo 2 is from 1964. I was 13 years old at the time. Right around the time of this painting, I actually learned how to roller skate. And the studio was so big that it was like being in a skating rink. I could kind of skate around. His work is emblematic of the moment of its creation. He's got this big image of President Kennedy. Like it's got interference and static and transmission or something, you know? Even though you can look at that painting now and say, okay, well, that's the sort of biggest, clearest image, he's actually kind of putting Kennedy up in the corner a little bit, blurring the meaning of it and saying, okay, well, what was the meaning of this aside from the news story? Down in the bottom is a helicopter from Vietnam. And then you get to this image of an astronaut parachuting down out of the frame. And then you kind of swing into some sort of strong single images that are individually decipherable. He would tell you that there was something important going on, but would not try to tell you what that important thing was. This is the work that went off to the Venice Biennale. And when my dad found out that he won, he called his assistant at home and said, okay, destroy all the silkscreens that I used to make these paintings. What I was trying to do has been achieved. He wanted to talk about the larger world, the larger culture, whatever it means the day that he finished painting it, does not mean that it's going to mean that same thing a year later, 55 years later. His work, it keeps on interacting with the real world. You don't look at the world and say, well, what is the single meaning of all this? And you don't look at his painting and say, what's the single meaning of all this?
Today we're going to go in the NGA, National Gallery of Art's Kids app, and play with the collage section. Take a look at this video, but today is really about you. You get to make choices, try different shapes, and have a good time. Don't forget to save your picture by taking a screenshot and sharing what fun new creation you made. Once you open the app, you'll see that you're in a little art gallery, a little museum, the National Gallery of Art. So click on the bottom where there's a little collage photo. If you missed it, it's right here. It has a pair of scissors. Then you can choose all of the different backgrounds. You can play with different predetermined groups that they want to show you. You can move items around. You can also clear and have just a plain background to build on yourself. Then you have quite a few different choices for your collage, and you can start building, choosing whatever makes you happy. You can choose the size, you can move your shape around by using the slider or by using the pinch and squish, kind of with your two fingers together on your screen. You can change how dark or light it is. You can layer another piece on top, size, direction it's going. Ooh, if you want to see through it and make it a little bit transparent or translucent. Adding different photos and different pieces from the app. Next week we'll add our own photos from our culture photo editing. So just have a good time and play. Don't forget to take a screenshot when you're done. It's okay if the tools are still there, but just turn it into your teacher in Seesaw so we know you had a chance to play. Now you're going to present in Seesaw either screenshots and writing. First, you need to tell us, did you edit photos? Say yes or no in the first box of review. Under inspiration, tell us a little bit about Bisa Butler and Robert Rauschenberg. Tell us how they used culture. And then put in a picture of something you made from the NGA Kids app in Collage. It could just be a screenshot. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. If you're done with photo editing, you can hit the green button and go ahead and turn in your work. If you need to learn a little bit more about photo editing or have that review, watch the following video. Have a great week! Next week, we're going to create a final collage combining all this together, our inspirations, our photos, and using the NGA Kids app. I hope you enjoy. This is a review of how to edit photos using the Green Screen app by Do Inc. It's in your student portal. Take a few photos and get ready to edit. Open the Green Screen app by Do Inc. Click the plus and make a new project. Click the plus at the bottom to add your photo. It's right there. Choose the photo that you would like to edit. Adjust the photo and click Done. Choose the color wheel and turn off the green screen. It says disable. Then choose the mask tool and the eraser. There's different sizes of eraser depending on the number of the slider. You can have a thin line to erase or a little bit wider line to erase a little bit faster. Don't worry about getting every single fine detail erased. You want to just get the basic shape because you can hide any little imperfections with other papers in your collage. Do a nice bubble cut. You can always zoom in and get some of the fine details if you really want to. When you're done editing, hit done. Make sure that you have a checkerboard background, not a black background, because then you're on video. You want to be on image. Capture image by hitting the green button. Then save your photo to your camera roll. If by chance anything is not saving or you can't access your photos, you'll need to go back into your iPad settings and check green screen by Do Inc. Then you can keep going and add more photos, just making sure that you're on image, capture image, not video. I'll do this one more time so you can see the process again. Choose an image from your camera roll. Say done. Tap on the green screen color wheel and turn off green screen. Click on the mask tool in the eraser. Use that slider to determine the thickness of the eraser. Trace the item you would like to isolate and erase everything else in the background. Now you're ready to capture your image, so click Done. Capture image, it's a green button. Save your image and it says success. You know that you have it saved into your camera roll. Have a good week. Remember, you only need a few photos. You might want to check back in your camera roll and make sure that they're right there in your camera roll. Have a good day.